Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Kevin Brock at 7 o'clock. We are poets and didn't even know it. Hey, Kevin, it's great to have you back. Glad to host the show. I'm Stony Stone, and of course, Kevin Brock. How you doing, buddy?
Well, hey, good evening, Sony, and thanks for having me today. Just glad to be here, and we're guiding every day, and we're catching fish, and we're making an effort to give people information. So we appreciate people watching and everything they do for us. So thank you very much.
No, absolutely. We've been, striper season is in full swing right now, and people are catching a lot of fish, all up and down the river and
A
the
lot, a
delta.
lot of, a lot of fish. Yeah.
A lot of fish. I had the opportunity to get out with you on Tuesday. We shot some video footage on Tuesday that I just finished editing. Showed you a little bit of a sneak peek. By that, as we speak, is uploading to YouTube right now, so you guys can probably go check it out on YouTube and get a jump on it. And yeah, so I see here that you got a lot of cool things sitting on your table there that I'm sure you're dying to talk about. So let's just dive into it, you know?
Let's just dive into it. We can talk about it, and yeah, let's recap on Tuesday and what we did for striper fishing, and that's going to be going on for the rest of the month. So people can tune into that and ask questions and watch the podcast. They can call me. They can ask you. I mean, any way to just to get information to people. We're here to help. And that's what we're doing. We're not just here to promote product. But we're going to show you what works and what worked for us, and we'll go from there. But yeah, the striper season's in full swing, and so we've got all different things for the different stores that are around, and then we'll go over a whole breakdown of all the different lakes and trout and a little bit of bass and. But primarily right now we are talking about stripers. Everybody's going striper fishing. From Red Bluff, Redding, all the way down to the Delta. People are striper fishing right now.
Yes, they are, and I know Tuesday we went out. You know, you're out there every day. I'm out there, maybe once a week with you. We're fishing. Anthony and I are fishing the Calusa Derby this weekend, and we're going to take a lot of stuff we learned from you and some of your products, and we're going to dive into some of your new products that just came out that you have sitting there on your table. And I know Anthony and I are going to purchase some of that stuff from you here Friday or early Saturday, but we're going to definitely run those this weekend and test those things out and see how they do. So we're excited.
Yeah, my new river colors and dark water colors came in, and so I'm super excited about that. Talking about trolling plugs
Yeah.
for stripers, and I know Johnson's has them. I know Ace here in Willows has them. The Tackle Box in Chico has them. Kittles has some. I heard they ran out, but hopefully they'll get more for you. And so we'll keep going. But it's uh it's a neat thing. And one thing about our products, I want people to know is these have been tested. We've used these before we ever put them on the market. And we tweaked them and we added this hook and that hook and different things. So when we say, hey, go throw this package right here, it's not to sell something because we were overstocked. No, it's just because that's what works. And that's
Yeah.
what we're showing in the videos. And we want people to get what's working right now. You can go, I go into a sporting goods store right now and you're confused. There's so many colors, there's so many things. What do you buy? I just want to go catch some fish. And so that's what this is about, to show people you don't need 25 different colors. You just need a handful of the basics and to have the right location to go to, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, and that's the thing you kind of said, when you go into those big box stores and they've got a ton of different products on the shelf and you got the guy in there that's making a minimum wage and you go ask him a question and he's all, what's a swim bait? What's a deep diver? They don't
Yeah.
know. They don't know what's going on.
And it's no dig on them. Not at all.
No.
We're not digging on them at all. But it's just hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to get the information on the specific locations. There's a broad range because the big companies are paying pro staffers to give them a broad saying, hey, this crankbait works really good. Like a Kevin Van Dam crankbait. Hey, this shad color works real good. Yeah, it works and they catch fish. But for the local guys, there's nobody doing that. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to give information out our guided trips are family friendly. We're packed solid. Um, Husbands and wives, they bring their kids along. Again, we're family friendly. We make it easy so people can catch fish. And honestly, just get out of the house and have a good day on the water. And we really promote that a lot.
Absolutely. And yeah, yeah, yeah. So as we get into your products, we're definitely gonna, I've got quite a few people coming online. So thank you guys for joining. We will, a lot of you guys are muted, some of you aren't, but we will start doing some question and answers here. So if there's at some point here you have a question, there's a little raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen. Raise that. I'll see it. I'll get you on, and we'll get going. So
Yeah,
Kevin,
and I'm gonna do a here coming up. I'm gonna do a demonstration on these on how to rig a trolling tail, how to rig an A rig, how to thread on a swim bait, what to use for the trout that they just planted at Paradise Lake. These are all cool things, and so we decided, hey, instead of talking about it, let's show you a visual too of what it is. I mean, you can click on it and say this, that's what it is, buy it. Boom, you can go to the store, get it. You can go online, you can get it. You can go to the tackle shops that I mentioned earlier. You can get them. Boom, and it'll all be good.
sweet, sweet, sweet. And we're gonna do a fishing report tonight at some point here.
For
Um,
sure. For sure. Because there's lots of hot stuff coming up.
Yes, sir. So let's dive into your stuff on your table. I'm anxious to
Yeah, I know.
see
I know. I know.
that.
Me too. Me too. Okay. So my deep divers just came in. We've been using them already. I prototyped them last year. You've caught fish on them. I've caught fish on them now. I mean, we've sold thousands already. So there's thousands of people out there and other guides who are using them catching fish. So we know they're catching fish. So that's good. But one of the ones I'm really super excited about. I'm gonna zoom. Can you see that? Okay. How does
Yep,
that look?
looks great. Looks like a bone color.
That's the bone color. Yeah, baby.
Good. Looks
Bone is
good.
good. Now, for retail wise, people look at a bone color like that's like as plain as day, right?
Right?
But it's super popular. But you know why it's popular? Because it works.
Right.
So now the companies are coming out with deep divers and glide baits all in the bone color. And I'm like, well, we need a bone color.
There you
So
go.
there it is. There it is. So right there's that bone color. Then the water's still cloudy. So we needed a clown. And I know you like this color a lot.
Yep.
It's green on the back. It's chartreuse. It's got a red head. I saw guys trolling with these the other day, catching fish. So I mean, I know they're working that color's proven. The bleeding shad, one of the red and whites, from the tail, is super popular in the Delta and over on the Feather River. They call that the bleeding shad.
I
It's
love
red,
that. I love
red
the
and
red and
white.
white.
Yeah,
Works great in the Delta for sure.
yeah. Now
That's always
we
been
have
popular.
we have we have this one's all pearl with just a little bit of red on the head. So we just call this the red head. Now we had I'll open my plug box here. We already have, we already have a red head like this one,
Right.
right? With some kind of clear and some, foil on there. But there's times where just the solid opaque color, you can see how this has the flash. I mean, we've caught some nice fish in your boat on that lure right there,
Yes, yes,
where
we
they were
did.
inhaling it,
Yes.
But this one here, some guys just really were asking just a straight white, straight pearl with red head. Can you see that okay? Because I can't
Yep.
tell.
We can
So
see it
if
great.
you guys can all see that okay, that's cool. So these 4 new colors.
Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you, Dave.
Okay, there it is.
Hey
Okay.
Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, bud?
Doing good. These 4 new colors I just got. The tackle box will have them stocked tomorrow. Johnson's will have them stocked tomorrow or the next day, hopefully by the weekend. Ace Hardware has some, and these new colors, that's where they're at. So, and they're not even online yet, but I know a couple of shops got them. But that one's going to be a popular one, and that one, and like I said, right now, we've got the bone color. Yeah, I like that one.
Well, he definitely was sending my boy Anthony out there to pick these up for us between now and Saturday, so we can run those Saturday in the tournament. And
Yeah, they got that tournament, and it's still not too late to join. There's a striper derby, on the Sacramento River. It's a give back. They got barbecue, they got, prizes, all that kind of stuff through NorCal Guides and Sportsmen's Association. You just go to their
NorCal guys.
page.
Yep.
Yeah. And you go to NorCal Guides, NCGASA, and click on that. You can sign up. What is it to enter? I
I
don't know,
think it's
20 bucks, 60 bucks, 40 bucks.
I know we paid 150, but that was for both days. And
Yeah, that
and
was
it's
two people for both
well,
days.
it's a 150. It's per
Options.
person. So it's not a team event; it's an individual event.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
That way
So
everybody's equal. So whoever wants to go in can go in.
right. So when Anthony and I we both pay to get into it, we go out and fish. We always catch some great striper. The thing what's nice with that tournament is that they're gonna call a slot. They're gonna call a size in the morning, and you go to their Facebook page. You'll announce it. They'll go live, and you see what the slot is, and it's
Yeah,
just a
so
matter.
no one can cheat. There's cash prizes, and it
Yep.
is what it is. I mean, when they call out, 24 and 3/16 inches, if he gets that fish, you get, and everyone's equal. Everyone's
Right.
equal that way. Everyone's got a chance to win.
Now
I
the
think
one thing.
they might have like a bogey prize and a big fish prize.
Yep.
It's a derby. It's fun.
Yeah. They
It's
got
all
a
good.
They got a
So
bogey. They got a big fish. The one thing that I'm not sure of, I need to look it up, and I would encourage people to look up the rule on this on the slot. Is it plus or minus, or is it just less than has to be the closest to without going over? Because
I think
that's important.
I think in the past, now I could be wrong with this one, but in the past it was the closest to without going over.
Right.
So you can't
And
go. And you had an experience with that one, Derby. Let's
we
tell that
did.
story.
So Anthony and I fished one of the Rio Vista derbies. I don't remember which one it was, but the prize money was huge. I think it was like Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. It was like 10 grand if we won that one for first place. And we measured that fish. We're all excited. We go measure it because we thought we hit it on the money, and we were over by 9/16 and lost because there was no second place. That was just like it that one hurt for a while, but definitely pay attention to those rules and make sure whether it's plus or minus, and make sure
Yeah.
your measuring apparatus, whatever you're using, is accurate. And I think in the derby, some people will measure to the end of the longest tip of the tail. This one it says at the fork, so they're going from the nose to the fork of the tail in the middle. So
Yeah,
just
that way it's exact. No tail swishing, no
yeah,
trimming the tail. You can't nub the tail with a thing. It's got to be to the fork. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
best way.
yeah.
So
So
anyway, that's all good. Prize money, fun times, good support. It's a good organization, and they're fighting for our fish. They're fighting for our salmon, and they're trying. And they're doing a good job. And so if you like that, and if you don't do the derby, hey, just cruise out there, and it's a fun event. There's raffle
oh,
prizes and, like I
yeah.
said, barbecue and all that. So enough about the derby this weekend because we'll all be out there. Let's let's play with this bone color a little bit here. Because I just can you see that okay from this distance?
Oh yeah,
Tell
we
me
can
tell
we
me if
can
you can. Okay.
we can see it, and so yeah, tell us about that bone color. When's the is the water condition right now good to use that bone color or
You bet it's good. It's good in clear water. It's good in murky water because it's an opaque color. So it means it's solid color. It's good all the time. It's a really, really popular color. So let's show how to rig one. All right. So I got these worms. It's a trolling tail worm. Now I pour these myself. There's other worms out there, trick worms and different things, okay? But I pour these myself. Now I mix the plastic and I mix some bite enhancement stuff in there. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but that's what I do. So it is different. They're not all the same. So when you go to hook them up, I like that little chartreuse tail white one,
oh I love
popular
it.
one.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, I got all kinds of colors. I got pearl,
I
got
like the red and
tail,
white. I love the red
red and
tail.
white, which is a great one. I got, white, white and yellow, white and chartreuse, white and pink. So when you hang your lure, face the bill towards you. Okay, like look, you're looking at the bill of the lure. And then you kind of look back over, and whichever hook, this is important, whichever hook is hanging closest to the body, I'm going to turn it so you can see. That hook that touches the body first in the tail, that's the hook you want to hook the worm on. All right. So then when you hook it on, you hook it flat side towards you. There's a rib side and a flat side. Take the flat side. Now, any way works. Okay. Any way works. But over time, when the bite's finicky, this is the best. Over the time, this is what we've used. Hook it through. Gotta do it to where you can see it there. And you only want to go in maybe a 1/4 inch. That's it. Poke it through, run it around. Now, you got to see that. Here's the trick. Here's the trick. It'll save you on worms. I sell worms, but I don't care because this will save you on having to buy a bunch of worms. It'll catch you more fish. Grab a little thing of super glue gel. And right where all three of those hooks come together, the treble hook, right in the crevice there, just drop one little drop in there. Bingo. There you go. One little drop. And then you just take the worm and you just push it up in there and you hold it. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, something like that, 1005, whatever it may be. I'll put the lid back on so that doesn't dry. So that should be about the right amount of time. Bingo, you're on. True running, it's stuck up in there. So what happens is when you get a short, and short is anything under 18 inches long, a little schooly one or something, and he's grabbing on this tail, he doesn't pull it down and knock the action of your lure off.
Mm.
So then it's still running straight. So he don't yank the tail off. Number one, you save on tails. Number two, where there's small fish, normally in that group somewhere, there's what? There's a big fish, right?
Absolutely.
So you're going through, tug, tug, tug. Well, he grabs it. He doesn't pull your worm off. You keep going. Now it gives that big one to come up and eat it. You'll save on worms and you'll catch more fish. It's like the coolest thing ever. Just a little bit, hangs on there real good. And then at the end of the day, or whatever, or if it gets tore off, yank it off there, and then you just kind of, get your pliers, scrape that little bit of that super glue off there, and you're ready to go again. But I've been doing that for years, even before I was making anything. And that was just to save on worms. And, because especially in the Delta on the river, you'll get into a bunch of smallies, or smallies, not smallmouth bass, but a bunch of shorts.
Right.
What's cool. And they're just yanking it, and your worm's getting yanked off there, and then it's bending down, and you bring it back in, you still trolled for, a ways. You're like, oh man, I wasn't even fishing effective.
Right.
Well, that helps. That helps right there. And I really love the red and white for the Feather River. I really love the white and chartreuse, the pearl and chartreuse, or you can never go wrong. If you don't have nothing else, just put a white one on the back.
Okay.
And we've got them all. But pink's a pretty good color too. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we do, like I said, we do put a little scent in there. May wants to come back in and be a part of the
She wants to be part.
podcast. May's like, what's up? Well, what's going on? May's my little black lab, for those who don't know. There she is right there, running the house. But see how well that sits on there? Even when I pull on it like that, see how perfect that stays? Stays trolling perfect every time.
Well, I guess I'll be getting some super glue to put on the boat.
Yeah, and the super glue gel is the best. Regular super glue works good, but it'll run down on your fingers, and then you'll be gluing it. You'll hold it for 5 seconds, and then your fingers,
When they're stuck.
Yeah, now you're stuck to the worm, you're stuck to the lure. Believe me, I've tried. So the super glue gel, you can kind of control the drop in there, just one little BB size drop. The other thing on these lures, I don't want to see they're EMG type style. They stick them when the fish bite them. They're extra heavy hooks, so they don't straighten out. We
What
put
hooks are
we
you
put good
using?
stuff. We put good stuff on there. So the EWGs are just some of the best out there. Oh, they're super sharp and super strong.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Man, I
You
can't wait to start using these. This is
so
a plug.
I see a lot of other people will buy, different lures from different manufacturers, and what I'll see them do is as soon as they buy them, they change the hooks.
Yeah, there's that pink one. That's a good
Right.
color right now. But yeah, with these,
You
we
don't need
did
to.
these so strong, we didn't want you to have to change them.
Right.
We want to have a competitive price on these. The stores that are buying them are making a good margin on them. We're passing that on to the customer. So I mean, it's not killing you $9-10 for the lure. That's a great price with a good hook, and it's been tried and true.
Now, what about tuning? I've seen a few comments online about tuning. I've heard, different, again, different manufacturers, including yours, what's the story for tuning? For people that don't know, when they say I need to tune my lure, I heard you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. But dun dun and give it my comedy stuff. But how do
There you
you
go.
tune that
I'm look,
lure?
I'm look, I'm looking for a pair of pliers. I don't have one here. Okay. All lures, after you use them for a while, need to be tuned. Every one, even the $40 ones out there, the $20 ones. You tweak them, the fish gets bent. You twist it sideways, it might mess up the lure, right? So if you can see the eye on here with these ones, all you do is if it's going to the left, you just barely tweak it to the right, just barely bend it to the right, just a smidgen. So these two fingers were the pliers. You put it on there, just a little bit. That's all. And then pull it back, and there it goes straight again. Yeah, we'll do one of those videos. But you just want to run it straight. You just want to run it straight. When you pull it, towards you, you wanted to dig straight down. You just wanted to dig. You don't want it to kick out of the side like this. You just wanted to just go straight down. And they're tuned out of the box. I mean, we've used thousands of them with everybody else that never had to tune them. But sometimes after you catch a fish, you might, or one eyelet might be, you never know. But
Right.
they're tuned out of the box. You should be able to clip them on and go fishing. But if it goes to the side, literally just a little, and that's it. We've been tuning plugs our whole life. And so, from Rebels all the way up, you always got to tune them with just a little bit.
Yeah, and every one that I have in my box that I've used and pulled out, first thing we do is we drop it in the water before we start setting lines out and just see how it runs and on the side of the boat. And so far, everything's ran straight, and we just okay, it's running. Then we start letting line out, and when you let
You
those
go
lines
fishing.
behind your boat, I always get the question, should I be trolling upriver, downriver? What speed should I be going at? What depths? How far back should I be? What's your take on those types of questions?
I better not lose that in the carpet. I'll get in trouble. Get that stuck in my foot.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
be in, yeah, in a bad deal. Let's get this out of the way. That's what I use. In the river, troll upstream.
Okay.
Okay. And if, the speed of the river is 2 miles an hour, then you need to go 4 miles an hour, so you can be going up against it, cruise along. So really, you're going against the current there. So if you're going 4 miles an hour boat speed, it's humming right along through there. Now you may get in a back eddy or where it's some slower water and you can slow it down a little bit or speed it up a little bit. Now, if you're in the delta and you're slack water, 3.5, 4 miles an hour, hum these babies along. They love to chase them down and bite them.
Right.
They love to grab them.
The one thing that I've done, and now I'm starting to question my own is a lot of the times we we'll troll, and we look at the rod tip action to determine, how fast we should be going, shouldn't be going. But that also depends on your rod, right? So we've run a lot of different rods, and if I got a real sensitive tip, that might not be the right, you know, judgment because you're getting way too much action. We're not going fast enough. I've run stiff rods that we're going 6 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, and that rod tip's not moving because it's too stiff. So I think it's the right to have the right combination of rod and lure for what you're doing, right?
You really have to be able to read the rod tip. And over time, you'll start watching them and you'll just know, oh, that's the right speed because that's what you were going before you were watching them. I stare at rod tips all the time. That's all I've done my whole life
Right.
is watch rod tips. And so I can tell you if it's fouled, if it's working right. No, we're going too fast. It's not quite right. Let's speed it up a little bit, with the way the lure's working. So, but everyone's like, well, I don't fish all the time. How am I supposed to know?
Right.
Well, like you said, just get a rod that's meant for trolling for stripers. And that rod tip will be soft enough and it'll tell you that the lure's working and you want it humming pretty good. You want it vibrating good, but when the fish grabs it, you still want it to be able to bend over to absorb it, the strike. And then, once and he eats it, comes up on it. Another thing they'll do is they will grab the tail. They'll pull on it. They'll pull on like this, and you'll see a short bite, and you're like, oh man, oh, you'll see it happen. Don't set the hook on it, and if you got a soft rod, what do? They just keep eating up it, and they can't. And then finally, they get back into the back end of the hook here. They get a hung, boom. Now your rod hangs them because it was soft enough, and they didn't yank it out of their mouth, and then you got the fish. So that's a big deal right there.
So I have a video that's up from we were out, Anthony and I were fishing with Rob Stoddard. I was using your rods, your lures, and it was the red and white. And exactly how you explained it is what I believe happened because that striper we caught choked that thing down all the way to the bill of the lure.
Choked
Choked it all the way down. And so he was probably munching, and
he grabbed it and he pulled on the tail. Now, if you would have had a real stiff rod, he would either pull the rubber worm off or it wouldn't have been right, because he wouldn't be able to pull against it, right? But it was still there. So to him, it was like it was getting away. And so he just kept going. He's like, I'm eating the whole thing.
Oh yeah. And to switch gears a little bit because we're talking about lures, but I want to talk about your rods just for a second because I started running, your new rods out for catfishing, right? Very light rod for catfishing, but I wanted to put these things through the test. I wanted to put them on some big catfish, and the catfish bite has been weird the last few weeks. Normally they just slam it, take it down. They've been just real picky and kind of nitpicking at them, and you don't even see the bite. And so this last weekend, I was using your rod. I actually had a planer board on it to push the lines out as we're trolling for catfish, which is a whole different subject for you guys that don't do a lot of catfish. And we actually troll for catfish. And I thought I had a little takedown, and the rod tip was going down, and we cranked on it, and the fish was there. But then all of a sudden, I felt like it was gone, right? And as I reeled, I pulled the planer board off. And as soon as I got the slack out of the line, because the line went real slack, which told me he was probably swimming at the boat. And as soon as I cranked on it, man, you could see the difference. That rod tip just bent, and that fish started to run a little bit. But the thing is that sensitivity rod to where if I was running a stiff rod, I wouldn't have seen the little bit of a bite. I wouldn't have been able to see the action of what's going on below the water. And when we're dragging, we've got these big long drag weights that bounce the bottom, but you can see on that rod tip every bounce, every hit, every little thing that goes on. And I think it's a game changer for us is that sensitive tip is key.
Yeah, and we don't want to just promote our rods either, because all rods work. Okay, any fishing rod can catch a fish. The number one selling fishing rod is the Ugly Stick for $39 or whatever at Kmart or whatever they came out. Hulk Hogan did the thing where he touched the tip to the butt end of it, and he's like, whatever he does, Hulkamania or whatever. And that dates me. That's 30 years ago, but that rod's caught more fish than anything for just the normal public, normal just people buying it. But what I've done with the rods is I've made them specifically for the species of fish because of all the years of watching rod tips. So we've got steelhead rods that dictate, and really show the bite. We've got striper minnow rods. I mean, you've seen it over and over because you've fished with them now for quite a few times. That fish messes with a minnow. He pops it. He doesn't even know the rod tip's there.
Right.
That minnow's just going like this, and your rod tip's just vibrating. All of a sudden, thump. He pulls it down. It gets to where the meat of the rod is. He didn't even know it was there, and you saw those hooks, man, just buried in the corners and the tip every single time. Well, if you would have had a stout rod, on that particular instance, fishing out a real stiff one, he would have grabbed it, yanked it down. You know what? You would have missed him, or you would have rim hooked him, barely hooked him on the end, fought him a little bit because there was no absorption of your rod. There was no shock absorber. It popped it off.
Right.
So,
and what's nice too with those real sensitive tips is we're fishing minnows. It's like before I was using these sensitive tip rods, we would have minnows, and yeah, you'd see it a little bit, but you really see the bite. But now what you see is the minnow run. You'll sit there and that rod tip starts bouncing around, and it's just that little tiny minnow that's moving, trying to get out of the way of something chasing them. But that rod tip is going crazy because that minnow is running. And then all of a sudden, that rod tip's hitting the water because now you've got a fish on it. In the video I just dropped into YouTube, you see that. You see those rods as we're just sitting there anchored up with minnows on it. And when that rod, I mean, it's like violent. It's just crazy, and it's fun. It's really fun.
well, the rod tip's soft enough that the minnow can run around.
Right.
So it's like the minnow's actually pulled. So it gives him more freedom. And the more the minnow runs, the more the striper wants to eat him. That's how it goes, because they love to chase. They're like a cat.
Like a cat.
You put something next to a cat, it's just sitting there still, whatever. But you start moving that thing around and dancing it all around, all of a sudden it catches its attention, and it's just the instinct is just to go after it and get it. Well, the same thing with the striper.
Anything else on your lures right now before I?
Oh
change
yeah.
subjects?
We got
Okay,
stuff.
let's keep going.
I didn't want to bomb it out, and overdo it. A-rigs are super popular. They're all over the place. I know the shop in Chico and Tackle Box now has all different types of them. We've got ones like this for bass and spotted bass. They've got ones that a guy's doing here local, West Branch Tackle Company. These sold out. He's making them all over. He makes it for heavy duty stuff. So this is striper. Heavy. So we're going to show kind of how to rig one of these because people were asking. So this is our 4-inch swim bait that I use for the A-rigs. And you can take, this is 3/8 ounce head. And these ones are real heavy duty. Make sure you get a heavy hook, and I know my fingers are in the way there, so you can't see them, but just thread it right up the line there and then poke it through, right through the center. Poke it through the center and then just push it on. And I like white and clear. That color is a pretty popular color with a green head on it. So do that, three of them there. And once you get the hang of it, it's real easy to go. Now, if you want to do some really ultralight fishing, and then we can talk about this for Oroville and Shasta, you can just throw that right there and just kill the spotted bass. But we'll stay on the striper thing. Guys throwing A-rigs for stripers. And by the way, that's starting to absolutely go off. By next week, the A-rig bite, the swim bait bite, will go through the roof. And we'll let everybody know. They just put them on like that, just so they run straight. And you take your A-rig, you got all the different blades on it, different things. So, Well, you can do 5 arms, but in California, you can only run 3 hooks. So you run it down like so.
That's one thing I haven't fished with yet is one of the A rigs. I know my fishing partner Anthony, has a few that he uses and uses them pretty well. So definitely something new that I want to try out this weekend and see how we do with those. And we're trying everything, Kevin. This weekend we're trying everything.
You do whatever you want. You do you. You know what I mean? You do however you like.
We got two of those on there with green heads and
Yeah. And then the other ones I do an opposite color on the top just for the attractor.
okay.
You just hook it through there.
And the
And
reason
clip it up.
you use a different color on that is
I do. And just for attraction,
okay.
just for color contrast. But I mean, really, I don't think it really matters. Just that's what I've done in the past. So you just hook it right onto the snap like that. So that's going to run like that. So this is the one that always gets bit down here, the big one that hangs out the back. And you just cast it. Now you need a heavy. We talked about, light rods and stuff. This is not a light rod application. You want to throw a 65-pound braid on this. You want to get this thing back. They're 20, 30 bucks. But you want to talk about a fish attractor. When those fish are going, they think it's just a whole school of fish and they just come in and grab it. Sometimes you'll catch 2 on the same one.
That would be a blast.
But that's how I rig mine striper fishing.
Okay.
65-pound braid I throw on it and a heavy rod. Rod rated up to 30 pound.
And if you're trolling that thing, how far back would you send that?
Okay. The question is if you're going to troll it, and then trolling them could work really good too. Every spot's going to be different, but start at 40 feet. Don't go too far. And if you're just dragging the bottom too much, speed up a little bit and it'll lift up, but it doesn't have to be far. Remember, we were catching lots of fish right underneath the boat. So if you're in the right spot, you don't have to go far, but just make sure it's close to the bottom. But if you get 2 or 3 of them out, man, you just created a school of fish and you're going to find them. I wouldn't go more than 60 feet. Again, 3/8 ounce, on each one. So some of the guys in the Delta stuff, will fish a 1 ounce, but they got to get down 20, 30, 40 feet of water.
Right.
But so I use 3/8, but that's for casting. But that's a cool rig right there. It catches a lot of fish. We got those. A rigs are everywhere. Everybody's got them. I know that the tackle box has a whole bunch of them in there now. They just got in a stock. So
very sexy.
Yeah. Super, super awesome.
All right.
Super awesome. And I would think that's just for the fishermen, but no, it really works. You watch all the YouTube stuff on A rigs. It's a true thing. It's a real deal. So Saturday, your number one bait, driving around, casting, your number one bait. This is striper candy. I call this guy right here striper candy. It's rigged. It's ready to go. You tie it on the end. And I'd run 15 to 20 pound test. You can run 30-pound braid on it if you want. Makes no difference. Just tie it on and go. Throw it towards the bank where there's rocks, gravel bar, sand, not in the willows, obviously, and just let it sink and then just reel it back out. Throw it straight across, reel it straight across the water, straight across. Not upstream, not downstream, but straight across. That's it. They've got these everywhere. They got them at Calusa and Kittles. They got them at Willows. There's 4 or 5 stores all over that. Johnson's has them. The Tackle Box has them. I think Red Bluff Reynolds has them. Sportsman's Warehouse has them. Striper candy right there. Super cool, pre-rigged. It's a couple bucks, whatever it is, $3. You tie it on and go. Don't have to worry about how to rig it. It's already rigged for you.
And
Now,
definitely works because when we were
Yeah,
out with you filming a week before last, we had Anthony with us, and he was throwing one off the bow of the boat, and he said he had one on, but you just said something, stay out of the willows. Well, what did he do? The fish went to the willows, got stuck.
yeah, that's
And
all right. He hooked one, and then
he,
probably every day we've gotten two, three, four
yeah,
on them. Today we didn't, which I was surprised, but um, my guys were pretty busy today, so we didn't have much time to throw them. The bite was pretty good to start off with. I had my hands full.
I bet.
But striper candy's good. So whatever town you're in, if you're in Calusa, go to Kittles. If you're in Yuba City, go to Johnson's. If you're in Chico, go to Tackle Box. If you're in Red Bluff, go to Reynolds. If you're down in Sacramento, try Sportsman's. They had them at Gons Fishing and other stuff in Vacaville, but I think they sold out. They had a bunch there too. So,
Well,
or if you can't find them tonight, you can go online and buy them, so you can get them. But that's a cool little having 3 or 4 of these just in your boat glove box or your tackle box is always cool, because if you see some fish and they're not biting, or you see them on your graph and they're in the back eddy, they're splashing around, you tie that on, you swing it through them, they will bite it. The water's warm enough. It's 68 degrees. It's time to go. That's a cool one right there, and it's ready to go. Now, also, some people say, "Oh, I can rig them myself." Well, just buy the 1/2 ounce head, and then the 4-inch body, and then you rig them yourself. You can buy 10 packs, 5 packs, whatever you want. And all the stores carry them. But swim baits are a lot of fun.
and I would say if you go to your local bait and tackle and they don't have them in there, definitely go to fishkevinbrock.com. But I would say something to the people at the store. Say, hey, why don't you have these? You get them to go. I believe on your website there's a vendor or a wholesale thing that they can
You
go grab
bet.
some information. So tell your local tackle shop here, give them the link, tell them to go get the store pricing for wholesale and get them in the shop. You send them.
The store gets awesome pricing, and they can pass it on to the customer. Everybody wins, and you get baits that are working for the local area. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. So yeah, if you're tackle shop, they can just go right online and punch their numbers in and have wholesale pricing. It's all set up for that.
Very cool.
And we
Um,
deliver, if we can drop it off, we'll drop ship. If it's an hour or two away, we'll send it to you. You'll have it in a couple days.
Very good. Um,
Like that.
getting very good. That's
It-
nice
it's
little
like
bit.
you're mesmerizing. Everyone's head's going left and right. That's what it does to the fish too. They're like, "What? What is that?"
So my kids are working on giving us some grandbabies, and when you those little mobiles above the crib.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use one of those A-rigs with a bunch of striper candy. And my kids are going, "What's that?" It's a new mobile for the
it's
baby.
a no new mobile. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Kevin, we're into, man, this time is flying tonight. We're already
and
at
that's what's
7.
great about that. This is good. This is a good idea where people can see this instead of us just talking. We're giving people information they can visually see it. So
Yeah.
let's do
Well,
a quick roundabout fishing report.
okay.
Is that what you were thinking?
I
I
was
didn't want to cut
thinking,
you out. You're the host. I don't want to
no,
jump in
that's
there.
all right. I wanted to see if anybody had any questions. We wanted to jump in real quick before we jumped into that fishing report. We got a
This is a
few
really
people
cool
on.
lure box, by the way.
I have one of those on my boat. I finally got
That,
from somebody.
that lure box. I know a guy. That was a
I
pretty
know
cool
a
lure
guy.
box. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Really
anybody
cool.
have questions that's online? I think Warren unmuted. Warren, what's up, buddy?
Hey, where
Hey,
should I go
Warren.
to?
Good to see you, Warren. How are you this evening?
Oh, not too bad. Where
Good.
should I go to catch a striper?
When are you going?
Oh, I don't know. Sometime after
To,
the this weekend. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So next week or week
There
after.
you go. So Verona's been on fire.
Okay.
The bow ramp has been opened back up there from what I
Okay.
heard last week. Moving up, Knight's Landing will be fine for trolling, but the Tisdale Weir opens, I want to say this Saturday. And from Tisdale up to Grimes, loaded with fish right now. No one's hardly even fishing on them. Then you can go up to Ward's boat landing. That's still open, but you got to be crafty with your boat backing up if you're going there. But
Yeah.
you can handle that. You've done that before, but I wouldn't recommend a new guy to go into Wards. Then just go up the ways a little bit to, Calusa Landing, which is the slough house right there. Jump in there. That's where I'm going out of. We're going upstream. You can go downstream. Now for the guys up north, Red Bluff, Redding, Lost Smo, all of that stuff up there, Chico, people are putting in at Ord Bend. Ord Bend, they slaughtered them today. There's just so many fish up there. And then you got Grimes, which is down further, which I mentioned before, which does not have a ramp anymore. So you got Ord Bend, you've got Butte City Boat Ramp, and probably, honestly, up into Scotty's, and they're redoing that. Scotty's down, that they're getting fish up there. But for you, which way are you coming across from, Warren?
Oh, I live up here by New Bullard's Bar, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
So probably what? On the Feather, so Boyd's Pump,
Yeah.
Star Bend, right there. I don't know if Star Bend's still open or not. I don't know on that one. I have to double check. But Boyd's Pump, right there from the Yuba down, all the way down to the Bear River. And you don't even need to go that far. Just go like down a couple holes down to Wood Duck Hole and, just before Star Bend and all that. Loaded with fish right now. Trolling, swim baits. You can find them, just kind of ease your way down. You can down troll minnows, or you can, troll the plugs with the trolling tail. That red and white on the Feather, that one's money. Those are good ones. And a lot of guys like these ones too. But I'm going out of Slough House because it's just close enough for me. And there's just a ton of fish up there too. That Calusa State Park, right out of Calusa, is open. Yeah. So yeah. I know that's a bunch of boat ramps that you can hit all the way, but for you, hit Boyd's Pump on the Feather, or just cut across, and hit Tisdale Weir.
Yep. All right, Kevin, give us a fishing report. What's going on in the water?
All right. They
Mike
just
Miller. Nope.
Let's talk trout real fast. Because trout, there's a lot of guys who like trout fishing. Collins Lake still on fire. They've been planting that like crazy. Super, super good. There's trout at Bullard's Bar. Shasta Lake still on fire. Get a hold of Jeff Goodwin. He knows his stuff over there. Collins, get a hold of Cal Kellogg. These are if you want guides. Power bait on Collins is Castmasters. But the key on this weekend is Paradise Lake. If you're up in the foothills, they have planted Paradise Lake again with big rainbows, power bait, rainbow colored power bait, and these two Castmasters. I wanted to bring them and show you. This is gold in the morning, and then blue and silver. And that is in the 1/4 ounce. Okay, so 1/4 ounce, blue and silver, 1/4 ounce, gold. Cast them out and just start reeling them in. Reel them in, pretty good speed so you can feel your rod tip wobble. So that's the trout thing. And, the trout opener for streams still a couple weeks away. Lake Oroville. Lots of kings over there. They're smaller, 14 inches size. If you're lucky, you'll run into a big one. But if you want to bass fishing for spotted bass on fire. Same way with Shasta. Ned rigs, any of your finesse worms, 4.5-inch worms, in the morning dawn color, which is a lightish pink, purpley color. The brown and green pumpkin, and those, salt and pepper. You can never go wrong with salt and pepper for spotted bass. Oh, that's. If we went over there, we would catch 40, 50, 60 bass every day, anywhere from 10 inches long to 17 inches long for spotted bass. It's a great fishing right now. Great fishing. And if you haven't done it much, take a bucket of minnows over there and try that. You'll catch a fish on there. A guy came in to the tackle box and was telling one of the guys in there that he had a complaint about the minnows. And we're like, oh no, what's the matter, And I'm guiding and everything, and so he's like, yeah, I got a fish on every single one. And, now we think it's going to be that good. And, he caught it bass on every single minnow he had. So he had none to waste. So that's good. So then let's drop down to the Feather River. Boyd's Pump down, all the way down to the Nicholas Bridge is loaded with fish, even further down to Verona. And the Verona is where the Sacramento and the Feather come together. Guys, there's lots of guides down there. There's lots of fish coming through there, all kinds of fish. So if you're further down Sacramento area down there, go to Verona. There's lots of fish right there. If you're kind of middle range where they're having the Derby this weekend up towards Colusa, it'll be a busy weekend. Boyd's Pump is on Johnson's side, stopping at Johnson's. See those guys over there. Grab some striper candy, grab some minnows, grab some lures, go striper fishing. Then cut over there to Colusa. You got the state park launch. You got Ward's boat landing launch. You've got now Tisdale Weir opening up, which is in between Colusa and Yuba City. So that's a good place to go. And then you've got Colusa Landing boat ramp. So you got 4 boat ramps right there to access the thing. Same thing. Shop local. Kittles is there. They got all the stuff there. Jump in there. They got my stuff. They got everybody's stuff. And then you just get stuff there. Then on your way up, you got Chico. So if you guys are up north and coming down the Chico area, Ord Bend, Butte City boat ramp are, the two right now, guys are going in like crazy. The next one down is Colusa. So you just go into there, find a couple holes, go by the pumps. There's fish all over the place. Guy came in, said he was casting swim baits in 7 to 6 feet of water towards the bank, swim them out. Yesterday evening, they got over 30 bass. 30 bass. Yep, going out of Butte City. Just a weekend warrior, just going out to catch some stripers. And he was throwing a 3-ounce swim bait. He was throwing, where'd he go? Striper candy. He was throwing this one right here. Red tail, red head. Bingo, just super popular. Grab 5 or 6 of these and you can go fishing. And so then on the Sac side, we talked about that. That's really good. Black Butte's still on fire for bass. All the lakes are fishing for bass right now, by the way. Everything's heating up. So if you like to bass fish, honestly, the biggest advice, the best report I can give you is just go fishing. Find some water and go. The fish are biting. It's time to do it. If you like to eat fish, go striper fishing. If you like to release fish, go catch a bunch of bass on the lake. You want to salmon fish, go to the lake, catch some of those. You want browns and rainbows, go to Shasta. I mean, whatever river, whatever lake you're close to, you want to go to Bullard's Bar and catch a bunch of kokanee. That's on fire right now. I'm seeing guys were catching limits. Just go fishing. Just go fishing. And if you got any questions for me about different areas on what to do, give me a call.
Well, Mike Miller's got a question right now. Mike, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, Kevin. So I was out this morning, launched out of Colusa, and
Gotcha.
I actually I've been watching your videos, and I've been, I do a lot of Facebook sleuthing, watching different reports, and I know the striper fishing's good. So I took my old man out. He hasn't caught a striper yet, many years, and trying to get on one. And actually, we came up on you in a back eddy, and I knew how good you were doing. And so I don't know if you remember, I anchored up below you about 100 yards, and hopefully that wasn't too close, but I think I was too far out in the current, wasn't getting any bites. We were using live minnows that we bought at Kittles. We moved there, we tried other different back eddies, and we were just unsuccessful. We had a couple takedowns, but we just couldn't get a fish on minnows. We didn't bring bait. I really thought minnows was going to be the key. What advice would you give me as like I mean, I go out every year, but this is my first time out this year. Is there a key to catching these striper on minnows? Could I be doing something wrong?
No, you didn't do nothing wrong. It just where you were at, and you weren't too close to me at all. Never worry about that. I know who you are. I remember this morning now. Came up on the
Okay.
side, and you could have been over. And that spot where you were at, you just needed to be closer over towards the bank a little more. You were
Okay.
just in too much heat. So here's a tip. If you got to use more than 2 ounces, maybe 3 at the max, and if it's not getting right and staying right on the bottom, you're in too heavy of water.
Yeah, I could
And,
kind of
and,
sense that. Yep.
and it doesn't need to go way behind the boat. Sometimes we're only fishing 30 to 60 feet right behind the boat.
Uh-huh.
You don't need to go far. So ease in a little bit. And what right now, and this is going to be the key for about the next 4 or 5 days, and then it's going to change. But the fish are still traveling. They're in 6 to 8 foot of water, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
just moving. So if you're out in the heat, that's not where they're at. You were just a little too far out. And then, when you come back down, there are certain spots, there's no doubt that, 10% of the water holds 90% of the fish. And so, we just, where you saw us there, we killed them. But the back eddy in there is really hard to fish. You really got to keep messing with your boat because it swings around. It's a hard spot to fish.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I've had
but
a lot of experience with that. It spins you around. You kind of
yeah,
have to
yeah,
anchor
but
up below the back eddy so it doesn't spin you around.
yeah,
We
but
ended
and
up coming
that and
back
that's
later after you left, and we had a couple really good takedowns, but it just I don't know if the fish were too small, or what the deal was, but yeah, we just couldn't get one in the boat.
yeah, darn it. Well, next time you will. But that whole edge where you were is good. Just move inside a little bit more. It's okay to be anchored in 6 foot of water right now.
And then
So
we moved farther up and did some other back eddies that were actually super deep, like 18, and we didn't get anything. And I thought they would hold fish, but you're saying maybe at this time that might be too deep, those spots.
So what happens is right now, and it's just because we're on the water a lot, and people don't know these fish are traveling, and they're not they're looking for hens, they're looking for the girls, and so it's just a bunch. There's 200 boys and one girl. That's how they spawn, and so they're going through and they're not stopping. So the deep holes aren't fishing right now, but once you upriver further, once you find where there's a couple hens at, then they're going to start schooling up and what we call start potting up. They're going to start grouping up together and getting ready to spawn. Well, when that happens, then all your 16, 18 foot back eddies are great. But right now, when the water's 48 to 51 on the gauge for height, 47, those fish are traveling. Just get in a traveling lane and wait. You may not get nothing for an hour, then all of a sudden you'll get 10 in a row. So
Okay.
you were real close. You're right. It just can get frustrating, I know. But just down below me there's plenty of spots for 2 or 3 boats.
Uh-huh.
Right across from the state park there, that whole gravel bar. If you get in 7 foot of water right now, those fish are coming through on both sides. Right above. But don't do the deep water just yet. Maybe next
Okay.
week, but and you can text me. But maybe when you go out next week, text me before. Say, hey, what depth should I go to? Where should I go? And then we'll get you dialed in.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult for me. I can't really troll. I don't have a kicker motor, so I'm really set on anchoring and using minnows or drifting minnows. And I've seen a lot of guys having good luck with just cut bait or sardines.
Yeah.
So right now, is that like the key? Maybe using cut bait or is minnows the key?
There's really no. They'll both work right now because our fish are traveling.
Okay.
Sardines will work great. Minnows will work great. I got minnows on because it's just easy and fast for me right now, and they're biting them and aggressive. But if the water was colder, all I'd be fishing is sardines. But right now they'll bite everything. So they'll bite sardines,
Got it.
they'll bite minnows. You just got to be in the traveling lane. You
I
would have
got you.
got them. You would have got them just fine right below me if you would have just been over just a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so my
Getting that
so my
that 7 foot of water, ounce and a half of weight, 2 ounce max, then your money.
yeah.
Okay.
So Mike, we want you to call back next week in the podcast and tell us how you did.
You bet. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
out tomorrow night actually and fish into the night. So
All
So one
right,
of the
see how that
there you
goes.
go.
one of the
Tomorrow, yep. Tomorrow night, just find a gravel bar on a corner, and like I said, that one I'm at's a tough one to fish. Um, but because two of the other spots were taken on the way upriver. But just find that corner, a major corner where there's gravel and where it's that 6, 7 foot deep and the boat just sits just perfectly straight. And
Hmm.
when you walk it back, you're not in willows. It's all nice hard pan or gravel. You lift the sinker and click, click. You feel it hit the bottom. You hit some rocks or whatever. Okay, you're in good water. You're not sitting in mud, and just wait them out, and something will come right on by you.
Okay, I appreciate that, Kevin.
Yeah,
I've been
you bet.
using your swim baits for years. I really like them. I buy them all the time. So yeah, really
Well,
like your
hey,
product.
we appreciate you, and we appreciate you calling in, and hopefully it helps. And again, fish change, their patterns change, but I'm on the water every day, and so next week that's what this is about, just to help people out, so everybody can go out and get some fish. I mean, it's just a good thing. It's giving back. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mike, one of the tricks that Anthony and I like to do when we're out there is we'll actually bring chicken liver, and we'll put chicken liver on a bait setup like if you were doing anchovies, but we'll put some of that silly string on a chicken liver to catch a pike minnow. Once we get a nice medium sized pike minnow, we put that on a little bit bigger hook, throw that back out there, and you want to talk about big striper. Go back to some of the old farts fishing videos and go to the striper playlist and look at some of the Delta stuff that we've done, or even on the river. We at a Knight's Landing, we have a hole there at Knight's Landing that we'll use that trick on, and I caught my biggest striper off a pike minnow, and I thought it was a fluke because I'm like there's no way this is going to happen again. So the next weekend we went out, did the same thing, boom, caught another record like 32-inch striper. Just it's a blast. So take one of your rods and just throw some chicken liver on there for fun and try it out and see what happens. It might work, and you come back next week and go, the minnow bite was crazy, and oh my God, Stony, that thing worked. Or
Yeah.
it didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's
try that.
one where you put that one out the side, you put a heavier sinker on, put a big weight on, and let him send him way back in there. And then that way, if there's a big one, you might hook it. But to get your numbers, your schoolie fish, just keep your baits close. They don't have to go far back, and just where it's just nice and soft. Like I said, ounce and a half, 2 ounces is all you need.
Yep. So,
Perfect.
Kevin, we are at the top of the hour. We're actually over, and I try to be respectful of people's time. And man, this
Yep.
time just flew by. I'm like, oh my God, it's already 8 o'clock. Couple things, get a hold of Kevin. He'll give you some information. But before we go, I want to kind of show something here. We got these little hats here. This little Chico one, and we got this little Old Farts one here. You can go get those right now exclusively at the Tackle Box. I have not put them online. One, because I'm lazy and I just give them to Kevin and they'll sell out of the Tackle Box. So, pretty cool hats. They're there, and go check them out there. And Kevin, if we want to get a hold of you to book a trip or just chat or information, how's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, and we're finding the best way. We have an office and all that kind of great stuff and emails, but the best way is just text me. I'm just going to give out my cell phone, 530-570-8057. Just send me a text. And that way I can be fishing on the river and blah, 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 blah. I can say, hey, I'm up above. Hey, go down below a little bit and check this out. I just got this off Amazon. This is cool. See this? See this? I do not want to drop my phone in the water. So I got me a little harness, a little clip-on thing, and that way I'll be in my pocket all the time. And that way, if you text me, I can just be like, yeah, I'm up 2 miles from you. It's lights out. Or, hey, the fish are in the deeper water. Hey, you want to take my spot? Because we're limited out. How about that, huh? Text me, we'll hang out, stop by the trailer, we'll talk fishing, and we'll get you set up. That's what we're here to do.
Sounds good.
This is pretty
So,
cool.
it is very cool. I'm to give me one of those. Thanks for calling in, guys. Every Thursday, Real Talk with Kevin Brock at 7 o'clock. And if you guys have time on Monday and you want to get a good laugh, I got my own podcast that I do called A Minute with Stony Stone. You can find that on my Old Farts page or Minute with Stony Stone page. And we primarily talk catfishing and give our own little report about what we did this weekend and interact with a lot of different people. So thanks for calling in. Enjoy your night. Kevin, anything else before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thank you for everybody and all your support. Thank you for all the tackle shops for believing in us and buying our baits and going on guided trips with us. I mean, we just had such great clients and great people, and we offer, family style, guided trips, and so you're going to feel real comfortable on the boat, not a lot of pressure, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you're into that and want to get out, text me at that same number. Stoney will probably put it on the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
And just check out our stuff. We just appreciate you, and we're just glad we can fish and help out.
Yeah. And if you want to replay any of this, go check out oldfartsfishing.com or go to my YouTube channel, and you'll see this post-production podcast out there and the past ones as well. And appreciate all you guys' support. Until next week, fish on. We will talk to you
Fish
later.
on. God bless. We love you all. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.